I've been asked to read out a statement on behalf of the Duke of Sussex and Lord Watson. In a monumental victory today, News UK have admitted that The Sun, the flagship title for Rupert Murdoch's UK media empire, has indeed engaged in illegal practices. This represents a vindication for the hundreds of other claimants who were strong-armed into settling without being able to get to the truth of what was done to them. After endless resistance, denials, and legal battles by newsgroup newspapers, including spending more than £1 billion in payouts and in legal costs, as well as paying off those in the know in order to prevent the full picture from coming out, News UK is finally held to account for its illegal actions and its blatant disregard for the law. It has also specifically admitted wrongdoing against Tom Watson and admitted unlawful acts by The Sun, as well as by the News of the World against Prince Harry. The truth that has now been exposed is that newsgroup newspapers unlawfully engaged more than 100 private investigators over at least 16 years on more than 35,000 occasions. This happened as much at The Sun as it did at the News of the World, with the knowledge of all the editors and executives going to the very top of the company. What's even worse is that in the wake of the 2006 arrest of a royal correspondent, there was an extensive conspiracy to cover up what had really been going on and who knew about it. Senior executives deliberately obstructed justice by deleting over 30 million emails, destroying backup tapes, and making false denials, all in the face of an ongoing police investigation. They then repeatedly lied under oath to cover their tracks, both in court and at the Leveson Public Inquiry. At her trial in 2014, Rebecca Brooks said, "When I was editor of The Sun, we ran a clean ship." Now, 10 years later, when she is CEO of the company, they now admit when she was editor of The Sun, they ran a criminal enterprise. Far from being relics of a distant past, many of those behind these unlawful practices remain firmly entrenched in senior positions today, both within News UK and other media outlets across the world, wielding editorial power and perpetuating the toxic culture in which they continue to thrive. It's perhaps no surprise that all of their senior executives and editors refused to turn up to court to give evidence. The failure of each of these key individuals to come and answer questions under oath spoke volumes in itself, but their collective silence is deafening. Today's result has been achieved only through the sheer resilience of Prince Harry and Tom Watson, whose willingness to take newsgroup newspapers to trial has led directly to this historic admission of unlawfulness at The Sun. It has only been by taking newsgroup not just to the steps of court, but inside the courtroom itself, that these claimants have finally managed to extract this historic admission of guilt. As a direct result of him taking a stand, Prince Harry and his immediate family have also had to repeatedly withstand aggressive and vengeful coverage since starting his claim over 5 years ago. This has created serious concerns for the security of him and his family. The rule of law must now run its full course. Prince Harry and Tom Watson join others in calling for the police and Parliament to investigate not only the unlawful activity now finally admitted, but the perjury and cover-ups along the way. It is clear now that this has occurred throughout this process, including through sworn evidence in inquiries and court hearings, in testimony to Parliament, and until today's final collapse of Newsgroup's defence. Today, the lies are laid bare. Today, the cover-ups are exposed, and today proves that no one stands above the law. The time for accountability has arrived. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sherborne, Prince Harry said he wanted accountability. There's been no admission of liability by senior managers. Is this what he wanted?
Like every other person persecuted by newsgroup newspapers, I wish they had left my family alone. But what happened happened. Today I'm glad they have finally accepted responsibility. I'm glad they've apologised and acknowledged the direct harm caused by years of unlawful surveillance by their journalists and their army of private investigators, not just to my family, but to Prince Harry and his. As the formidable Mr. Sherborne and my diligent solicitor Ellen Gallagher and our impressive team of lawyers at Hamlins have shown, in over 1,300 civil cases, these unlawful practices were not isolated incidents. They were industrial in scale and central to the modus operandi of newsgroup newspapers as a whole. I once said that the big beasts of the tabloid jungle have no predators. I was wrong. They have Prince Harry. His bravery and astonishing courage have brought accountability to a part of the media world that thought it was untouchable. I am sure I speak on behalf of the thousands of victims when I say we are grateful to him for his unwavering support and his determination under extraordinary pressure. If Rupert Murdoch had any decency, he should follow this corporate commission of guilt with a personal apology to Prince Harry, to his father our King, and to the countless others who suffered the same unlawful behaviour at the hands of his media empire. Newsgroup newspapers owes so many such apologies. Thousands of ordinary people just trying to live their lives have endured the same unlawful behaviour. Many were victims of heinous crimes, including victims of terrorism, grieving families, and people caught in personal tragedies. I'll never get over some of the stories I've heard in this case. I owe some apologies too. This saga has placed an unforgivable strain on the people in my life. From my former wife Siobhan, mother to my beautiful children, to my wider family and friends. I am sorry that Rebecca Brooks decided you were just collateral damage in their corporate war on the elected representatives who sought their accountability. This fight has made me reflect on what it means to settle. Legally, it's a technical term. Emotionally, it's much deeper. I wish I could bring justice for everyone newsgroup newspapers have ruined and bullied, but I can't. Our system remains stacked against victims in favour of the powerful. So what does this case mean? Why is it so important? As the United Kingdom continues to witness tragic crimes and terrible atrocities, at least we know now that because of the work of my solicitor Ellen Gallagher and lawyers like her, victims and their loved ones are unlikely to have their phones hacked or their medical records stolen by tabloid newspapers, as routinely used to happen. At the heart of this case, and all the 1,300 others, is the important principle that no one is above the law. And in this sense, today's result represents a challenge to the criminal justice system. I finish with two questions. To Sir Mark Rowley, when you receive our dossier exposing wrongdoing, will the Metropolitan Police act? To the Prime Minister, I know you care deeply about fairness and the law, but are we really willing to continue as a country where some corporate executives are above the law and out of the reach of the police? Thank you.
Oh.
just on operational matters, if you want hard copies of the statement that David Sherborne read, then I've got some here, and my colleague Graham Johnson does as well. To look out for Graham. Secondly, we won't be answering any questions on behalf of the claimants because Mr. Sherborne's statement